Welcome back for day 2 of our 30 days of new intentions. Today's theme is to surrender. Whatever that means to you, whatever it is that you have that you need to surrender to this year, I do think it goes along hand in hand with acceptance. We need to accept our situation, we need to surrender to it. And the same with your yoga practice. You have to really allow yourself to surrender to the practice in order for it to do its work. For me, I think when fear gets the best of me, I have to learn to let go of that and surrender to love. So, for all of you, kudos for coming back for day 2. We're going to work quite a bit on hip flexors today, so I'll see you on the mat. Welcome back for day 2. Today's theme is surrender. I think it goes hand in hand with acceptance. There is some surrendering that goes along with accepting the circumstances that we're in currently. And what we're going to do today is focus a little bit on the hip flexors and settling in, opening things up, and really surrendering to the practice. So we're going to start a little bit differently than I typically start. We're starting in an extended child's pose. So if you were following along from yesterday, we did take this pose during our practice yesterday. Bring the big toes together, knees as wide as the yoga mat, and then you're letting that tailbone come all the way down toward your feet. Extend the arms out in front of you and really reach toward the front of your yoga mat. And then let the rib cage, the diaphragm, everything get heavy and settled. And that tailbone sometimes wants to creep up. So really be mindful of just making sure that your back feels heavy and that your tailbone is resting close to your feet. And it's a very grounding, but also a somewhat vulnerable posture. So we're kicking it off, surrendering right into the practice today. So now tune in with your breath. And start to notice your inhales and your exhales. And try to let go of whatever it is that you're bringing with you to the mat today, and just really see if you can just let yourself focus on just the breath and the movement. And if you find that your mind starts to wander, see if you can just guide it gently back with thoughts of what this intention means to you. What are you surrendering to today? And if you struggle, sometimes people struggle, even I do, with really sort of slowing down your breath cycle, maybe try counting to 6 or 8 as you inhale. And then see if you can hold the top of the inhale. Take just a little bit more air. And then again, on a count of 6 or 8, let that exhale be nice and long and slow. And you can really feel, if you're really focused on the breath, you can really feel the expansion in the rib cage in the front and the back. So the back side of your ribs expand and those muscles stretch in your back. But it's all very mindful breathing. On your next exhale, walk the fingertips toward the left side of your mat. And you can take a peek at me if you're not sure what I mean. You should feel a little stretch underneath that left side body. Really more underneath the arm into the left side. Again, these are really small movements, but they're very meaningful. And these are the kind of postures that really do their work by us allowing ourselves to settle in and not rushing through trying to get on to the next posture. A little bit of yin there for you. And then we're going to walk the hands over to the right. So now you should feel a little stretch on the right side body, right underneath that right arm. And you'll know when you get there. So that's another big part of yoga, is just learning to listen to your body. Your body is really good at cueing you for what you need. And if thoughts creep in, that's okay. Just acknowledge them. There's nothing to do about it right now, so let this time be for you. And just go back to the breath, back to your intention. And then walk the hands back to center. We're going to come up onto all fours just briefly, just to check in with alignment and posture. And then we're going to go right into working on the hips today. So first, do a little check-in in your tabletop position. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Your back is nice and straight. Your neck is long. So everything is where it needs to be. Also, just check in with how your hands are placed. I find it really helpful to have my fingers spread just to give myself more of a foundation for when you're coming up into down dog or forward into plank. It's just helpful, rather than having your fingers closer together, having a little space between your fingers just gives you a wider base. So do a little check-in, make sure everything is where you want it, and then we'll tuck the toes. You may need to adjust your hands a little depending on what your physical body is. Some people are taller, some people are shorter, so do a little check-in when you get there. But we're pushing up into downward facing dog. So here's how to do your little check-in in your down dog. Drop the knees, and then, so the knees are bent a little, and then drop the belly onto the thighs, and then try straightening your legs. And just see how that feels. You may need to move your hands up a little, but just find your down dog. And that is the first challenge for you for today. And we'll pedal it out a little, so bend one knee, straighten the opposite leg, maybe switch to the other side. And then we're going to come into a low lunge. So to get there, starting with the right, you're going to kick that right leg all the way up behind you, and then bring that knee in between your palms. And then you're going to just step your foot right between your two palms. Lower that left knee down. And then we're coming into a lizard here. So you're bringing that right hand over on the opposite side of your right foot. So now both hands are on the right side of your right foot. And then you can lean in here without losing that alignment in your spine. And maybe try to broaden the chest out a little bit, bring the shoulders down and back. You should feel a nice deep stretch in that lower left hip. And your body will tell you when you're where you need to be. So that's another piece, is to find your edge. So it should feel like there's a stretch there, but it shouldn't be painful. And try not to hold anything here. So try not to hold your breath, try not to clench. And just see if you can, with every exhale, maybe lower that left hip down toward the floor a little further. Maybe you let that right leg splay out a little further, but not so much that it's painful. Take one more big breath here. And then we're going to come out by coming back up onto that left knee. You bring that right hand back around to the opposite side of the right foot. And then you're pushing down on the palms and you're kicking that right leg all the way back up. And now if it's in your practice, if not, you can come right back to down dog. But if it's in your practice, maybe you open the hip here. Maybe you've never done that. Try it. And then that right leg comes down. And we're switching sides. So take that moment to check in, find your down dog. And then we're going to kick that left leg all the way up. Same thing. You're going to bring that knee between the palms. Right knee comes down this time. So first, do a little check-in here. Make sure your alignment is where you want it. And then you're going to bring that left hand in the inside of your left foot. So now both hands are on the inside of your left foot. Now you're going to allow yourself to lean forward until you find that stretch in that right hip. Bring the shoulders down and back. Open up that heart chakra. And you can let that left knee sort of lean out toward the side. And again, as you are inhaling and exhaling, go back to those really long, deep inhales and exhales. And can you get any more little bits of space? Can you let that left leg come back any further? Two more breaths. And then when you're complete, you'll come back up onto that right knee. That left hand comes back to the opposite side of the left foot. And you're pushing down into the palms and kicking that left leg all the way up behind you. And maybe now you open that hip on the left side. But see how it feels. Again, everything is just a suggestion. Take what you need. Bring that leg back down. We're going right into another hip stretch. So you're going to kick that right leg all the way up, and this time you're bringing the knee between the palms, but you're coming down onto that right leg. Left leg is going to stretch out behind you as far as it can go. This is pigeon. If you regularly come to restorative yoga with us, this is a pose we do almost every class. So bring the shoulders down and back, open up the chest. Maybe you lift your chin toward the ceiling like you're a proud pigeon. And maybe if it feels okay in your body, you come all the way down. And this can be a really intense stretch. It's not for everyone. So if you get here and it doesn't feel good, then it may not be a good stretch for you right now. So listen to your body. If you are here in pigeon, as you're exhaling, can you work that left foot up any further toward the top of the yoga mat, or can you let that, the right foot, or can you let that left foot come down any further toward the back of the yoga mat? Wouldn't be a class with me if I didn't get my lefts and rights mixed up. One more big inhale here. One more big exhale. Imagine that you're just letting it all go. Just surrender everything. And then we'll inhale, come all the way back up onto the palms to come out of this. Again, just like we did with our lizard posture, we're pushing down onto the palms. You'll tuck the toes on the left side, and then you're kicking that right leg all the way back up. Come back to your down dog. And notice, you should feel a difference now between the right and the left. And I say this all the time, but that is why yoga is so cool. All right, kick that left leg all the way up. We're going to the left side now. That left knee is coming in between the palms. So right leg, you're stretching out behind you as far as it can go. Bring that left foot up toward the top of the yoga mat as far as it can go. Bring the shoulders down and back. Again, take that extra moment to just check in with your posture, with your alignment. Did you start to hunch forward as you were coming into this posture? Or did anything get out of place, and can you just check back in? Maybe lift the chin up toward the ceiling. And then if you want to try to bring it down here, then exhale, come all the way down. And again, when we're still in these postures, that's when the mind gets busy. So see if you can just come back to your breath, come back to that intention of surrendering to the practice. As you exhale, can you let that right leg come back a little further? Maybe just get a little tiny bit more space. Maybe not. Maybe you're good where you are, and that's great too. Just by showing up here, you've already gotten past the hardest part. The yoga is not the hard part. The commitment is the hard part. One more big breath. And as you exhale, see if you can just let everything go. And then come all the way up onto the palms. To come out, we're again tucking the toes on the right side this time and pushing down into both the left and the right palms equally. So you're supporting your body weight, and then you're kicking that left leg all the way up. Maybe you open the hip. And then bring it back down. And then we're going to walk the feet toward your hands. So you're going to end up in a forward fold here. I'm turning around because we're coming into our last posture for today. So bring the heels closer to, or actually take the feet about a little further than hips width distance apart. And then bring the heels towards each other. And we're going to come into a little squat here. So however you need to get there, just kind of work your way down. And there's a little bit of balance here, a little coordination. So see if you can tune in, focus. Gets a little stretch in the toes too. And you can gently guide the knees out with your elbows to get a little deeper stretch again in the hips. I focused a lot on hips today, so you may feel that later, but it's a good stretch. And then bringing the palms down to the floor, just let yourself come down into an easy seat, and we'll close out today's practice. So you've survived 2 days of yoga. We've done some different foundational poses, and we'll keep working through some more. Tomorrow we're going to get up a little bit and work through some of the warrior poses. So that will be another good class to tune into. Bringing the thumbs to the heart center in an Anjali Mudra. The light in me honors the light in all of you. Thanks for showing up. Namaste.